Hello VC, this is Matt again, the Vinyl Minimalist. This video is the entry, my first entry for a competition organized by Jonathan at Cheap and Cheerful Vinyl Collector. So first, congratulations, Jonathan. He's organizing the competition because he recently reached the 800 subscribers. I think he's doing a really good job, and I really like the concept. It's something different, and it really shows. I really do agree that actually, if you look a bit, then you're able to find really good records for not a lot of money. And yeah, I'm quite sure that very soon he will launch a competition for 1,000 subscribers. And so thank you, Jonathan, for the competition. Thank you for your time. I appreciate the energy and also the money that you put in the competition, and great idea to support the local businesses and the local record stores. So kudos to you. Okay, my contribution. When I started collecting records, I only bought cheap records only. At that time it was a bit easier because I started at around in around 2008 2009 maybe. At that time records cost very simply a lot less than they do today, especially second-hand records. At that time you still had people who didn't know that there was this kind of vinyl revival, people who were willing just to throw out their records or donate them or sell them for €1 each or whatever. So I bought many records this way. However, I must admit then later I found out that many of the records that I bought I just didn't like. But some of them I really like, some of them I love, and some of them I kept until today. So I'm going to show you 5 records plus a bonus. Originally I only wanted to show 5 because I just don't believe, I mean I could show a lot more, everyone can show many records, but I just wanted to show 5. I wanted to kind of restrain it, but then there was the 6th one. I just have to show it, so you'll see later. The first one, the Dire Straits, Love Over Gold. I'm not a huge fan of Dire Straits, but I really like this album, and I took this one for free. Actually, it does not belong to me. It belongs to my parents, as far as I know. Maybe it belongs to my sister. I don't even know. So this is an old Czech pressing. You know, I'm originally from Slovakia. When I was born, it was still Czechoslovakia, so this is an old Czechoslovak pressing, and it was in my family. My family members, my parents and my sister, they stopped listening to records in the 1990s, early 1990s, because from the early 1990s on, they would just listen to CDs or not listen to any music at all. So no one listened to this one. Then later, a lot later, I discovered some of the old family vinyl records, and this was one of them. I was maybe 15 or 16 at that time, and I listened to it, and I liked it, and I listened to it more and more and more, and I really like this album. And I think that one of the reasons that I really like it a lot is that I listened to it a lot and that I understand this album quite well. Because otherwise, you know, I don't like Dire Straits that much. Some of their music, some of their albums, I just don't want to see it. You maybe know the album Communicate, just don't show me that album. I don't want to see it. I just don't want any of that. But this one I really like. And I really believe that if you give yourself time to listen to an album a lot, to understand it, you will appreciate it a lot more than if you only listen to it a few times and then once a year. This is usually what kids do, what young people do. They have 3 albums in their possession, and they listen to them over and over again. At least that was the case when I was young. I guess the kids of today, they have all the internet, and they listen to anything they want. Okay, so I just took this one from my family because no one else listens to records and I like it a lot. Good. The second one, this one I actually bought. It's of course the Beatles Abbey Road, and I was very lucky to buy it for just €3. It's a 1970s Italian pressing in a very, very good shape. I work in tourism. I organize walking tours, and when we do tours here in Hamburg, we sometimes stop at a little nice cafe that is run by a guy. His name is Heino, and that's a really like old school family business. They get quite a few tourists, but they have never turned to a really touristy place. It's a family business, and that's what I really like about them. And suddenly I walk in with my group of tourists and I see this crate full of records, and I'm wondering, and I'm asking Heino, what are these records, and are you really selling them? Because there was this sign, records for sale. And he said, yeah, that's my old collection, and I'm just keeping the stuff I'm listening to. I don't want that anymore. So I asked him, how much are you selling them? And he said, oh, well, I sell them for €10 a piece, but since you're a friend of mine, I'm going to sell them to you for €3 a piece. And that was quite unbelievable, because I got 3 Beatles from the 1970s. I get some, probably 4 Pink Floyds, also from the 1970s. Almost all of them in really excellent shape. And I also got the Edgar Broughton Band album. Not sure if you know that one. It's maybe a bit less well known, but I'm sure sooner or later I will talk about that one too. Well, I was quite lucky. I was really thankful to him. And yeah, this is my favorite Beatles album. I grew up on Beatles. Nowadays I do not listen to the early Beatles stuff. I don't listen to the early Beatles stuff anymore. I listen to this one. I listen to Sgt. Pepper's. I listen to Magical Mystery Tour, and these are the 3 albums that I got from Heino for €3 each. Yeah, in really great shape. And yeah, this is a fantastic album. Yeah, I was very lucky. Not sure if you're able to read what's written here. It's very simply written Ella Fitzgerald in the Russian alphabet. So this is just a compilation of some early Ella Fitzgerald, and I at one point in time ordered 3 records from Discogs from a Russian seller, and this was one of them, and they were very, very, very cheap. They were probably around €3 each, and they were all of them in a good shape. And of course the shipping was the most expensive part. And yeah, I took this one with them because I like Ella Fitzgerald, and this turned out to be my favorite Ella Fitzgerald album. It's not a real album, it's a compilation. It's basically a Russian compilation. There are tons and tons and tons of this album all around Russia, so it's really not very expensive. Unfortunately, the audio quality is not very good. I'm not sure if that's because of the pressing or because of the what you call it, how it was, the music was made. Maybe it's not because of the pressing. Maybe the pressing is okay. Maybe the way they recorded the music was not that okay. I really don't know. The quality is unfortunately not that good, but the music itself is just amazing. That's young Ella, who is technically brilliant, but she's still so playful, and she's coquette, and she wants to seduce you, and she's funny, and she's having hell of a good time, and it's such an immense pleasure to listen to this album. It's fantastic. Yeah. The funny thing is, you really have to know the songs to know the songs. well, the titles are also in Russian alphabet, so and not only they're in the Russian alphabet, they're also translated in Russian. So, for example, here I happen to know some of the alphabet. Вся я means all of me, so that's the standard all of me, for example. That's also quite funny about it. Okay, moving on. So we've got 2 left and the bonus. Classic album Fleetwood Mac Rumors. I've got the impression this album is not as well known in Europe as it is in the United States. In any case, that's just my impression. It's a fantastic album. I didn't know it for a very long time. I discovered it rather recently, and when I discovered it, I knew there were so many of this album that were made, that were pressed, that I decided not to spend too much money, because I knew one day I was sure to stumble upon a good copy in a good shape for not a lot of money, and this is it. It was a vinyl market, many different sellers selling records only. One of them, I guess he was mostly selling jazz or maybe some classic rock, I don't know. So I guess he was not really interested in Fleetwood Mac, and he sold me this copy for €5. It's in a perfect shape. Yeah, and I love it. It's great, it's fantastic. Okay. The Sidewinder by Lee Morgan, one of the most famous Blue Note records. I got this one for €3. It's a 1960s pressing. It's not a very early one, but it's still one of those that have Van Gelder stamp on them. So this one was still mastered by Rudy Van Gelder. And I only got it for €3 because it's in a horrible shape. However, the shape is not as bad as the seller thought. So, wait a minute. Now we're going to deconstruct a record. The sleeve is in a very bad shape. It's in a really, really horrible shape. Wait a minute. Now I'm kind of afraid to touch it. So I'll take this one out. And the sleeve opens. Now this is not a fold-out sleeve. Yeah? It does fold out, but it's not a fold-out sleeve. It's supposed to be closed over here and over here and over here, and it's not. And you see, yeah, pieces of Lee Morgan all over me. Yeah, it's only the sleeve. It's still okay. You can see what it is. I find it's okay. It's not mint, but it's okay. And the record itself, it's got plenty of scratches, and the seller even told me, oh, you should not he literally told me I would not play this record at home, because he I don't know, he would be afraid of what could happen to his stylus or whatever. It's got scratches, yeah, and it plays well. It still plays well. You hear the pops from time to time, but the Sidewinder is a really very energetic album. It's got lots of drive. It's music that you can really dance to, and with this kind of music, you usually do not bother with these little pops, because it's not really quiet music. Yeah, it's party music. It's really great, and I absolutely love it. I absolutely enjoy it. This was my first Blue Note records for €3. Very happy to have it, even if it's in bad shape. I'm just enjoying it. And the bonus record, it's kind of ridiculous, because I'm showing this record for the third time. This is my third video, and I'm showing this record for the third time. Well, I am, because it's my favorite record of all time. It's Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here, and this is a record that ever since I started collecting records, I was looking for this one, and when I finally found this one at a flea market for €2, I could not be happier. It's a Swedish copy, it's not particularly expensive. Of course, it's worth a lot more than €2, but still it's not expensive. But it's in a good shape. It's the album that I love, and I was lucky enough to find it for €2 at a flea market. Fantastic. So that was it. That was my contribution to Jonathan's contest. In general, if you're looking for inexpensive records, I believe flea markets are the way to go, because thrift stores nowadays, well, they're just, the chances that you will find something interesting in a thrift store, at least in Germany where I live, in Hamburg, they're not that very high. At a flea market, you can still find sellers who just want to get rid of their stuff, and for them, getting rid of them is more important than getting good price for the stuff that they're selling. So yeah, that's the way to go, in my opinion. So I hope that was interesting for you, and I hope we will see each other in the next video. Bye bye.